Roasted veggie broth. Homemade broth is a simple and rewarding process. The combination of roasting and simmering takes it to the next level, and I'm going to show you how to take it even further. Hey friends, there's nothing like a good homemade broth, but I'm going to show you how to get even more value out of it by making 2 different recipes out of the same ingredients. This is a great way to reduce waste and stretch your ingredients even further. Now let's check it out. The first product that we're going to make is a roasted veggie broth. Vegetable broth is super simple, it takes less time than meat-based broths, and the ingredients are more affordable. And if you have access to a local farmer's market, you'll get it for even less. To begin, preheat the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit and get yourself a large roasting tray. So for today, we're going to be using 1 pound of carrots, a full head of celery, 3 medium-sized onions, a full head of garlic, and 2 bay leaves. I've got my tray ready, now it's time to prepare the vegetables. The garlic can go right in, along with the bay leaves. Then I'm going to chop the celery into a few large chunks. I put the leafy end and the root end to the side, and the rest go into the tray. Then I'll do the same with the carrots. It doesn't really matter how you chop them, since we're not going to eat them like this. The carrots go into the tray, and I move on to the onions. I'll trim off the ends, then slice them in half. Next, I cut them into strips. I'm going to leave the skins on because they will add some additional color and nutrition. Next, I'll give it a drizzle with 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil and add a pinch of salt and some fresh cracked black pepper. Give the whole thing a mix to coat with the oil and seasonings, and then it's into the oven. Roast for 40 to 60 minutes. This will deepen the flavor of the final result. Give the veggies a mix once or twice to keep them from getting overcooked in spots. Hey, since we got a minute, now would be a good time to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button. When the time is up, take it out of the oven, then carefully dump it into a large pot. Make sure to get all of it in there. Next, we will need some cold water. I like to pour it right into the tray and scrape up all the leftover bits and pieces so no flavor is left. Carefully add the water to the pot, filling until it is 1 to 2 inches from the top. Then crank it onto high heat and allow it to come to a boil. Reduce the heat to a simmer and let it cook 1.5 to 2 hours. It will develop a beautiful amber color with a light, mostly translucent body. Switch off the heat and use a slotted spoon to transfer the large chunks into a bowl. You don't have to get every last bit, it will just make it easier to strain it afterwards. Pour the rest of the pot into a separate bowl through a fine mesh strainer. This will catch all the smaller bits and chunks. Now you have a beautiful bowl of broth ready for use. So that's product number 1 completed. At this point, you can use the broth right away, or you could cool it down and then store it in the fridge or freezer for a future use. But we're not done yet. Transfer the cooked veggies into a blender or food processor. Add some fresh water and then blend into small chunks. You don't have to make a smooth puree, just get it chopped up. Dump it back into the empty pot and continue with the remaining veggies, adding water as needed, blending and dumping it into the pot. When it's all done, you can fill it up with extra water if you wish, depending on how much you're looking to make. All we're going to do now is let everything cool down to room temperature, cover it with the lid, and refrigerate overnight. You can let it go anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. Okay, it's the next day, so we're going to take a large colander and line it with some cheesecloth or any other clean cloth that you have available. Then set that inside a large bowl. Then we grabbed our chopped veggies that have been sitting overnight and pour them into the colander. Give the pot a quick rinse with some cold water to remove any chunks that were left behind. And then carefully transfer the filled colander into the pot. You can also add any liquid that has already begun straining into the bowl. After that, we will do our best to cover the pot, and then it's back into the fridge for a full 24 hours. During this time, the liquid will strain through the cloth, leaving the veggies behind. You can see the veggies have dried out and caked together as the moisture was removed. At this point, the veggie mix can be discarded or set aside for another use, but that's a topic for another time. And now we have product number 2 completed. This second broth is very different from the first. You can see it has a bright orange color and is more opaque than the other. It has some of the flavor from the roasted veggies, but also a fresh sweetness, sort of like a pressed veggie juice. Right away you can see there's a noticeable difference in the color and the body of each. And keep in mind, these were made from the exact same ingredients. The first broth has a rich amber color and is somewhat translucent, while the second is bright orange and almost completely opaque. You can use each one for different purposes. Broth number 1 is well suited to add a rich but delicate flavor to sauces and soups, such as a delicious bowl of ramen, while number 2 can add color and body to heartier dishes, such as stews and curries. 2 different recipes without adding any new ingredient except water, I'd call that a success. In the end, I was able to get 3 quart-sized jars of broth number 1 and only 2 quarts of broth number 2, but I didn't add the additional water to the pot when I chopped up my veggies. Let me know in the comments section what you think. This is a very frugal way to make your ingredients last longer while adding some amazing homemade flavor to your future dishes. Share this video with someone you think would enjoy it, and thanks for sticking around to the end.